What is over-adoption? When the people will adopt something more than the recommendation dose, then it is called as over-adoption. The people, they prefer to give more amount of, suppose, fertilizer than the recommendation, then it is over-adoption. In any case, when the adopter, he crossed the limit of the recommendation, then it is over-adoption. Actually, what happened, adoption is of an innovation is such a thing that it should be adopted as per the recommendation. We should not cross the limit of the recommendation. When it is crossed, there are so many side effects. And because of that, scientists or extension personnel, they never prefer for over-adoption. But in general, the farmers have a tendency to give some sort of more recommendation in some cases. In the field also you will get it. Particularly nowadays in the vegetable, the farmers, they applied more numbers of pesticide, frequency of pesticide, all these things. Generally recommendation is at least wait for 4 days, should use this pesticide, but instead of that they will use another strong pesticide which is actually not recommended for vegetables, and they will spray it every alternate day. So ultimately it crossed the recommendation. And when we cross the recommendation, then there is always side effect. And now in Punjab also, traditionally Punjab state, it is a non-rice growing state. Only after Green Revolution, they adopted rice because it facilitated the second crop before wheat, and so they cultivated it and completely for commercial purpose. And after that, what happened, to earn more and more money, they applied more amount of particularly fertilizers, pesticide and water. The groundwater, and in Punjab there is a facilities for the farmers that in the farmers field, the government provides the electricity line and any farmers can get the connection from those at free of cost. And because of that, and during the morning, and because of those facilities, the more farmers, they install different irrigation system and they irrigate the rice from the groundwater. And over application of groundwater as irrigation source, slowly the soil is deteriorated because there are more minerals, salt, these type of things are deposited in the soil. And now it is a problem for Punjab that how to reclaim the soil. And government also restrict the cultivation of paddy. That means before a specific date, before that nobody should plant any paddy. Because what happened, if someone grow paddy earlier, then they will go for another crop and more water will use. So there is a specific time. And if someone violate these things, they will. And now the situation is like that. And only because of the over-adoption of irrigation water, fertilizer, like this type of things. Over-adoption always produce negative effect, already mentioned, because when we use more than the recommendation, definitely there will be a negative effect. At the same time, if we do not use the recommendation dose, if it is below recommendation dose, then also we will not get the desired result. Both are negative. But over-adoption is more negative because of different factors. And already mentioned that it causes distortion or deterioration of the system. In case of Punjab, the soil system is totally deteriorated. Insufficient knowledge is the main thing in case of over-adoption. When the science agent, they recommend that you should provide this amount of fertilizer, this amount of irrigation, and when they get the result, then they thought that if we provide more fertilizer, more irrigation or this type of things, then they increase the recommendation. And because of that, over-adoption occurred. So if they have the proper knowledge, what will happen if I use more than the recommendation? In case of pesticide also, generally the farmers, they have a tendency that is mainly observability. That means when the spraying is done, the pest should be done. But in all the cases, the pesticides are not on that categories. In some cases, it will kill the insect instantly. In some cases, it will kill the insect slowly. But when it is acted slowly, the farmers, they thought that the pesticide is not good because the insect is not die, and because of that they increase the recommendation, and sometimes they even use non-recommended pesticide. And in case of Assam situation, based on my observation, I found that even in vegetable, the farmers, they spraying all those pesticides which are not at all recommended for vegetables. These are recommended for non-consumable food like cotton, all these type of things. And those are very strong pesticide, but only to kill the insect, immediately they use those type of things. Even if you go to the market and check these things in the dealers about the pesticide, then you will find that most of the cases the pesticides are not recommended, or in some cases it is clearly mentioned for which crop it is recommended. So over-adoption, it is a very dangerous thing, not only for the farmers who do these things, because his land will deteriorate, health will deteriorate, at the same time the consumer also suffer a lot. So over-adoption is a very negative consequences, and the proper knowledge, if we provide the proper knowledge about the things, then the farmers will, or people will stop the over-adoption. But the present situation is that it is very difficult to reduce these things. So many effort will be needed to do. I already discussed about types of adoption. One is active adoption, another is passive adoption. In case of active adoption, here what happened, the particular person or the adopter, he not only adopt the things, but at the same time he also influence other person to adopt the things. Adoption plus influence. He adopt it, and side by side he try to influence other person to adopt the thing, and this is called as active adoption. The person is actively involved to diffuse the process. And in case of your passive adoption, he adopt the things, but he will not concern about to influence other farmers. If it is a good, he will continue, but he will not do anything to influence other people. He is only concerned about his system, and this is passive adoption. And in case of diffusion effect, the active adoption, that create the pressure in the system, and because of that, along with sense agent effort, the innovation is diffused quickly. But if in the system there are more passive adopters, then the diffusion effect will generate very slowly. When it is active adoption, diffusion effect is more. So we not only want adopter, but it should be active adopter, so that other people can accept the things. It is not possible from the sense agent point of view to influence each and every person, but active adopter can do this system, being a member of this social system.